Just bounce to this.
Cool. Well, let's jump in. Sorry, we're jumping. Starting a little late. Let's jump in so we can knock it out, and we can both get back to our busy days.
Yeah, sounds great.
So I love your background. You kind of mentioned it a minute ago, but we'll talk about that in a minute, real quick, because I want to really curious to learn about that back there. But thanks for joining this morning. Who is Robby?
So my name is Robby Hirst. I'm a video producer in the DFW area. I work with PCS Productions. We've been here for about 25 years now, working with everyone from small businesses up to the Mavs and HP and Microsoft. We tell stories for companies and organizations. So we do about us videos, we do events, we do trainings. If it's going to be presented in a video format, we can help companies take care of it.
Cool. So you've been there 25 years?
I haven't been here 25 years.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
So I owned a company called RH Media for 4 years. I actually met the guys here at PCS just moments before I started my company. And we worked hand in hand for quite a while. I'd contract things out to them. They'd contract things out to me. It just got to a point of, why are we officing in two separate buildings?
Yeah.
So we ended up merging.
Okay. Cool. Okay. So that explains it. Because I think when you and I first connected, which has already been maybe even a year or so ago, maybe a couple of years, we were talking with Robby Hirst Productions.
Yeah. It was RH Media at the time.
RH Media. That's right.
And then last year we went ahead and merged.
Okay. Cool. I didn't know that. That's exciting, man. Good.
Yeah.
Good news.
Yeah. It's awesome. It's been amazing, really.
Cool. So tell us a little bit more about your business. You kind of already talked about that, but kind of go in a little bit deeper of, maybe some of the projects you've done, or, who you specifically target or work with.
Yeah, absolutely. So we work with companies or organizations. We do a lot of work locally. So we've worked with the Bass Hall. We've worked with the Fort Worth Club, the Mavericks. We're very locally focused, but we also work nationally and internationally as well. We have some clients in Africa and Europe, where we'll do some remote editing, sometimes come in and film some of their larger events. We have a small in-house crew. We have 10 people on staff. Whenever you think about big productions, it's not a whole lot of people, but it helps us keep our overhead down. But we're able to scale up almost instantly. We can have 100 people on a crew in about a week. We do a lot of crewing services for a lot of the, different sporting events and things like that in town. So we're able to really expand at a moment's notice.
Cool. That's awesome. So I want to learn a little bit about you, but now tell me about your background. What is that studio? And I guess it's here in Fort Worth.
Yeah. So our main studio is actually here in Irving. Having close proximity to the airport has been hugely helpful, as some people will need to fly in, record something, and hop right back out. So our main studio is here in Irving. We do have a very large presence there in Fort Worth as well. The studio you see behind me is actually a set that belongs to one of our resident clients that's called the Economic War Room. They air on a weekly basis. They're an economic show. So we do in-studio sets. As a whole, we have an 8,000 square foot studio. We have a stage, a green screen set. We're really able to evolve and do what people need. We have some sets, obviously, like the Economic War Room set, that once it's there, it's staying. But we still have several thousand square feet of modular space. So we'll have events. The Dallas PPA will come in and teach photo workshops and things like that. Being able to reach out and help people in the community kind of grow and learn together.
Cool. Okay. Um, and so, well, I've got a good idea of who PCS is, and how RH Media merged with PCS. But how specifically did you get into, or how did you decide to start RH Media, and how did you get into the industry?
Um, if we're going to the very beginning, I was probably 6 or 7 years old, volunteering in my church's media team. They had me operating a camera that was larger than I was.
I remember those. I
uh,
think we had one. It used to sit on your shoulder.
yeah. Well, even bigger than that, just the broadcast cameras that
Okay. Okay.
quite
Yeah.
literally I could have fit into the case that the lens went into.
Oh wow.
I mean, the sucker was huge, and so got my start there. Fell in love with it. Bought my first camera, and started working for a company called Melinda Julian Photography.
Okay.
Um, Started working for her whenever I was 16, photographing dog shows all across the state of Texas. Basically, every Friday afternoon after school let out, I would drive somewhere in Texas, photograph a dog show Saturday, Sunday, and drive back for school on Monday. It was a really interesting time, and she was a phenomenal boss and helped me really grow and gave me my first start in the industry. Worked for her for about 5 years before I started RH Media.
Cool. Well, I really love to hear that your history in this industry goes back so far, because I think it's obviously clear that you have a true passion for this, and you love what you do. Um, what would you say you love most about what you do?
What I love most about what I do is taking a little piece of everything. So we've worked on the stage of Bass Hall and have been able to learn different things about the hall and about theater and things like that. And then the next week we might be working with trucking manufacturers and learning about this part that helps balance the wheels, that is super innovative and no one has ever done before. The next week we might be working with scientists in West Africa who are studying turtles and how their nesting habits are changing. And every time you do a different job, you take a little piece of that with you. I love that.
Always learning something new, huh?
Always learning something new.
Awesome. Awesome. I love that. I love that. Great. So I think we got a really good idea of who Robby is. I've honestly really enjoyed connecting with you over the past couple of years, and just learning about your business and communicating on. I think you and I have tried to collaborate on a couple of times, and it'll probably get there one day. I appreciate all the back and forth. It's been really good communicating with you. Um, but let's jump into the current situation right now. How has the current situation affected your business?
It's been really interesting. So that first week, everything came out. I'll even step one step further. Since we're so involved in the event industry, with some rather large clients, we heard rumbles about this really before most people were hearing rumbles. And we saw the event cancellations coming. They started rolling out a week before they really went public. And so we're watching this all come to fruition. And that week that things started actually canceling, the week that the NBA shut down and things like that, everything went silent. All projects went on hold. Anyone who was planning on doing something, any events that we were planning on doing, everything froze. And it was a really eerie moment. I spent a lot of time in my friend Jason's office, and I'm like, what's going to happen? Because he's been in the industry another several years than I have. And I've been in the industry professionally for about 10 years now. And he's been in for, I guess, about 20 now. And I was really struggling with what's going to happen. It's like, I don't know. And that first week was very, very unnerving. But after that, it's been really interesting. We've had to make a pivot. being in the media service and specifically having like the working with the guys at the Economic War Room, we are a news media service, so we still qualify under the essential category because we're helping get news and media out there. So we've still been able to come into work. We've had a much smaller presence and have been very aware of social distancing. All of our editors went home. All of our crewing and admin people went home. And it's just really been the production guys up here. And it's been interesting the following weeks. We've started doing things. Last week we were working on a virtual graduation for a local high school. We showed up with some stages all outside, put a green screen behind them. We had stations to where people were honestly no closer than about 10 feet from each other, and they would cycle in. They'd be able to walk up on stage. We had people cheering for them so that these kids who, I mean, they're not going to be able to have that graduation like they would normally have. And so we were able to give them that moment for them. And so we've had that and several other stories like that of trying to help people have some normalcy throughout this, because that's really what people are trying to hold on to.
Yeah, you say interesting, and I think that's a really good word because the first few weeks, like you say, it was really eerie. No one knew what was going to happen, and there was a lot of fear going on. And as you say, and cancellations started coming in, and businesses everywhere were really worried. And unfortunately, there are some businesses that aren't going to make it through this. But I think everyone quickly started innovating and adapting, and even with a lot of the social distancing and everyone still shelter in place, there was still a lot of business going on. We figured out ways around it and figure out how, business still has to go on, and it's still, we still have to move on. So we figured out ways quickly to do that. Right.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's what small business is about. You're constantly problem solving. You're constantly figuring out what's the next move, what's the next pivot. You don't have a boardroom. Oftentimes, you don't have a boardroom of people to say, well, what about this and what about that? It's you grab your bootstraps and you run as fast as you can, and you make pivots along the way. My fiance, she owns a bakery, and she saw all of the shelter in places coming down and closing all the non-essential businesses. And she also saw a shortage in grocery stores of bread. People were just buying out bread, and
Yeah.
shelves were completely empty. And so she started making bread for people. And one, it made her an essential business because she wasn't a sweet shop at that point. She was offering essential food items, and she was able to help people get something in their pantries that they weren't able to do at the local grocery store. So you find a lot of people in the small business world really trying not only what can I do for me, but what can I do for the other people around me.
Yeah. 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 Totally agree. Yeah, that's cool. And you kind of already mentioned this. So, my next question was, what did you do to, I think maybe your story is about the high school graduation, but if you have another one or you want to dive a little bit deeper into that one, feel free to. But what was one thing either you individually or PCS did to innovate, to service your clients that you hadn't done before?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's been pretty interesting. Our service base hasn't changed. We still provide video, event coverage, and live streaming. All of our bullet points on our website, none of that has changed. But the medium and how those are being used, that has changed quite a bit, which has been interesting. So we're doing graduation services. We pre-recorded all of the kids walking across the stage. The next day, we recorded all of the different people who are going to be talking throughout the graduation ceremony. We'll pull all that together and send that out as a live video to Facebook and some other services for them. So we're doing a lot more pre-recorded send out lives for people. But we're also doing some other interesting things. We really hadn't done a lot in Zoom, as most of the world had not done a lot in Zoom, I don't think. But we have a lot of people who are shifting and trying to do more things in webinars. And so we're able to, just like I'm coming to you over Zoom, and not with a grainy camera, not with echoey audio. We're able to help other people do that if they're going to be doing like a webinar or something like that. We have a client that they're in the oil and gas industry, and they do mostly events, and so they've shifted to webinars and getting their information out like that. And so we're able to help their moderators be able to have a professional presence in that while they're doing that. And something that was actually a lot of fun. Yesterday, I got to do a partnership with another media company called Art and Owl, and they were helping a company do a walkthrough tour of a plane modification. There's one of his clients. They do plane modifications for their clients, and their client wasn't able to come in to check on the progress, and so they brought us in to help send the signal out live over a WebEx meeting so that they could visually see what was going on. Art and Owl took care of all the cameras. They went through and filmed everything. We were over here taking care of all of the audio and actually making sure the signal went. A lot of people don't realize that whenever you start involving multiple speakers and things like that, you start having a lot of audio things go on in these virtual meetings. And so being able to have it up on a 32 channel audio mixing board makes it a lot easier, and gives a level of professionalism that something like a cell phone or a laptop or a tablet just can't give you.
Yeah. Awesome. That sounds like an awesome project with that yeah, the video live feed. What do you think you'll be changing, as a result of COVID-19? What do you think you'll be changing moving forward?
The one thing I hope doesn't change is having to wear a mask on set. It has been my number one least favorite thing about everything is those masks are hot and you can't breathe and you're moving things. But of course, safety is first, and we understand it, and I gladly wear it. But I hope that is not something that changes going forward. I hope the masks get to go into the drawer. Um, Other than that, I think we're going to be doing a lot more live streaming. We've been doing live streaming. You've seen, most everyone has a friend or knows someone in my industry. There's a lot of people here. Most of them are people, one-man bands, just one person, maybe two. And everyone has started offering live stream. They're like, we can live stream, we can live stream, we can live stream. And a lot of these people, it's the first time that they're doing it.
Yeah.
So they're finding that it's really not as easy as they thought. We've been doing live streaming for years, and so there's a lot of knowledge and troubleshooting that comes along with that. And so I think we're going to see a huge upward trend of more people wanting to do live stream and take their events live. We even have people who have reached out to us to live stream their events coming this winter. They're very confident they're going to be able to have their event, but they're not confident everyone is going to be comfortable to come to it. And so they've reached out to us to help to live stream their fundraising events. So I think that's going to be a huge trend, at least over the next couple of years, if not permanently.
Cool. Yeah, I know, just with everything going on, the 100-man group, we had to cancel our meeting because of COVID-19. But the women's group, they just held their meeting, I think 2 days ago, and they did a virtual event. But yeah, definitely
really?
live. Yeah, they went ahead and held it, and they had a virtual. They still held their event, and it was virtual.
That's awesome. Did it go well?
Yeah, I think it went really well. So
Fantastic.
yeah. The men's group, we went ahead and canceled. We're going to regroup in, I think, August. Hopefully, we can probably have it then.
Awesome.
But yeah, I think live streaming those types of events, that might be something that our group hadn't done before, and we might do that moving forward just to be able to provide to more audience.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the interesting things, and we really won't know all the answers until we're on the other side of this.
Yeah.
But one of the interesting things is how fundraising is going to work over live stream. I've had a very large base of my clients are nonprofits. I love working with mission focused people. It just makes my heart happy.
Yeah.
And we do a lot of grant proposals and things like that, a lot of videos for galas. And obviously right now, galas aren't happening. but
Yeah.
there's a lot of people that their main fundraising time is right now. And so the question is, do they take it online or do they postpone? And so it'll be really interesting to get onto the other side of this and see, how did the fundraising change when it went online? People are still working. A lot of people are still working from home. Don't let me belittle. Unemployment is increasing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people out of work, and it is a huge problem. But there's a lot of people that are still working from home and things like that. They're still giving dollars out there. So it'll be interesting to see how that changes that industry, and if live streaming those galas is something that stays even when we're able to meet again.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think, especially for fundraising, they should find a way. They should at least explore live streaming, work out the kinks, and see what helps them. Especially for fundraising, it's every little cent counts just, in that industry.
Absolutely.
Um, so aside from the face mask, what do you look forward to the most post COVID-19?
Um, I really look forward to shaking someone's hand. Everyone does the joking elbow bump, or like you just nod at each other from a distance. But I still, I'll walk up to someone, I'll be introduced, and I'm like, hmm. So that's probably what I'm most looking forward to, is being able to shake someone's hand, and for that connection to be back. It's been really interesting going through this, how a lot of people, like, the CDC says keep 6 distance, and it's very important that we do so for those at-risk people, and to be able to flatten the curve and such. But a lot of people take that to even the point of don't make eye contact.
Yeah,
Um, like
everyone's scared of each
like
other.
it's so sad,
It is.
and so little connection when we're in person. And like I'll be walking down the grocery store, and people see me coming down, and I'm 10, 20 feet away from them, and they're shielding their eye from me, and I'm like, that's not how this works.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I'm very excited to get to the point where we're able to have normal connections again.
I agree. I agree. I think everyone is needing that interaction. I've a lot of my appointments have transitioned to Zoom, and I've even closed a few deals on Zoom. But one of the things I miss most was actually having just an in-person meeting, because those are really, I think we really need that.
Yeah, it's I not to get too deep into being religious, but I mean, like, it says in the first book that God said it's not good for man to be alone.
Yeah.
It's just not.
Yeah.
And so I'm with you. I love having coffee with people. I love being able to talk with people's businesses and see what's going on and help them. And I usually do that over coffee. It's one of the things that I do here is once a week. It's dedicated to business development, sitting down with clients and seeing what's going on and what can we do to help. And um, I haven't had an in-person meeting with a client. I think I've had one since all this started. And so I do really miss that connection.
Yeah. I'm having my first one tomorrow, so I'm a little excited
Nice.
about that. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah. Um, So tell me real quick a little bit about your marketing strategy, kind of pre-COVID, right now, and what you foresee afterwards.
Um, our marketing strategy is really in person, word of mouth. We don't really do a lot of online advertising. Um, we produce content and things like that for ourselves, um, and we'll run an occasional Facebook ad and such. But it's not something that we really hammer down on. We do a lot of in-person meetings and such, and I really hope that that stays going forward. That it's really about having personal relationships with people. That's how I like growing a business. It's one of the reasons why I love video advertising. Is it's the second best way to be able to build a relationship with someone, other than having that in-person meeting, is being able to have like an About Us video or something showcasing who you are and what you do. So I'm hoping that things really don't change between now and post-COVID. That we still keep that it's about who you are, and second about what you do,
Cool.
and keeping those relationships strong.
So I think you'd agree that your marketing strategy before, during, and after is pretty much not going to change. You're just looking to get through the situation.
Yeah, absolutely. We've had an awesome opportunity through this. That like I said, that first week everything froze, so we said, all right, let's make some internal content. So as a video company, we oftentimes don't have the opportunity to do videos for ourselves, and we strong believely that they're so important. But we're so busy working on everyone else's, we don't get the opportunity to work on our own. And so having the time to be able to work on our own, that we'll use for some Facebook advertising and things like that, we're very excited for. But as a whole, not a lot's going to change.
Cool. Awesome to hear. Robby, well, I appreciate your time this morning. How can all of our viewers find you and your business?
Absolutely. So we're on we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on LinkedIn. We've got a website. All of it's just PCS Productions. The website is PCSProductions.com. I'd be happy to help anyone with anything. If you just have a question, if you're thinking about doing video or video is right for you, please feel free to reach out to me anytime. I'm just Robby, ROBBY, at PCSProductions.com. I love being able to problem solve and talk over things. So if people have like a business question or anything like that, I'd be happy to help them out. And lastly, I do a lot of B2B work. We do a lot of business to business work. And so I know a lot of people in the different areas. I've got great marketing people like you, and I've got printing people and things like that. So if there's any way that I can help make a connection for you or anyone else, please let me know. I firmly believe that the only way that I'm able to grow my business is that I have to give more. I notice a pretty consistent trend of I'll get one thing for every 10 things that I give out, for every 10 connections, or I help someone here. I firmly believe that you got to give more than what you're needing back. So if I want to grow my business, then I just got to help more people.
I agree, and I love that mindset. So equally as well, if I can help out in any way, please let me know. I appreciate the time. Honestly, it's been a pleasure speaking with you, and I look forward to just staying in touch. Thank you very much, Robby.
Awesome. This sounds like a plan. Thank you so much for having me, Anthony.
Take care.
Just bounce it.